Communication is really, really critical. It's communication, it's storytelling, and perhaps it seems simple, but at the same time, with everything that's happening, if the story isn't told, if the impact isn't told, if the challenge isn't set out in people's psyche, then the work doesn't happen. And that's communication and storytelling internally within a company, and it's externally to stakeholders into the world as well, in order to continue to do the work and to gain support for the issues that really matter to a person or to an institution. My name is Monoswita Saha. I am the Director for Social Impact and Advisor to the Kyndryl Foundation. Kyndryl as a company, it's an IT infrastructures company, the world's largest IT infrastructures company, and has a huge commitment to community impact. You know, we have a motto of saying that we want to have a goal to power human progress, and the foundation is the philanthropic arm of Kyndryl. And so it's one of the ways that we bring that commitment and that vision to life. And so in my role, I work with our strategy, with our operations, and most importantly, with our grantees, the nonprofits on the ground who are focused on skilling and workforce development across various countries. From year 1 to year 2, we've just grown from working in and impacting 7 countries to 11 countries. It's great because I get to work with these nonprofits, the individuals, and then also work internally with our company in terms of how we build those partnerships.
Could you maybe talk a little bit about how you got involved with social impact and how you started your career?
Financial security, economic inclusion, what it took to get there. That was always really important to me. I've always felt that everybody deserves that pathway. My first real, I want to say, career move was teaching English in this alternative high school setting. And that really, I think, set the domino effect, because my students were in and out of the incarceration system. They had a host of issues. I was just so frustrated because I couldn't change those factors to help them in their ambitions, and they were so ambitious. I was frustrated, and at the same time, I couldn't accept the status quo that this is the way that it has to be. So I knew then that I was going to work in this particular ecosystem and around workforce and skilling and figure out how do we get more access, opportunity, and skilling opportunities to a greater number of individuals. You know, after my teaching time ended, I started to think about, well, what are the next steps? And I actively started to look for opportunities for myself, because I didn't know what to do. So I pursued a master's degree. And as a next step, I also pursued opportunities at companies where I thought they had a purpose and a desire to make opportunities and skilling and economic inclusion just more inclusive. So I didn't have necessarily a game plan. I just knew that I had to get to the next step and to the next step and to the next step.
And how are you able to measure the impact that you guys have on the communities?
Impact, oftentimes it gets into the numbers, and I'll give you the numbers as well. But for me, every number is a human story. It's someone's life trajectory. So I want to say, you know, all the credit, the work is done by our nonprofit partners. I mean, they're the ones who are on the grounds executing training programs, recruiting, guiding beneficiaries, individuals through these education, training, skilling journeys. And every time we see a person that is transformed, has doors open for them as a result of the foundation's support and investment, that's a success story. And then now to give you the numbers, at the end of this first year, and we're going to complete our first year in just about, end of this month, we will have impacted over 20,000 individuals.
That's amazing.
In cybersecurity, which is pretty phenomenal. And then over the next 2 years, with the second grant announcement, we will impact over 55,000 individuals. And again, these are students, they're career changers, they're women, they're moms, they're individuals across the spectrum who will have a greater opportunity to a career in technology as a result of the investments and of the partnerships.
You mentioned about the partner nonprofits that you guys work with. How do you properly select the ones that you will be able to work with, and how does that process work?
Well, I think it first starts with the focus. I mean, there are so many challenges and issues. And for Kyndryl and for the Kyndryl Foundation in particular, we're focused around skilling. And particularly, we're focused around the skilling gap in the cybersecurity and in the artificial intelligence sector. So when we put out a request for proposals, we are looking for organizations who are particularly focused on these two sectors. And we, in addition to the two sectors themselves, we're also looking at inclusion, which will look different country to country. It's not the same. And then we have a transparent multi-stage process. So the RFP itself is posted, the requirements are posted, we have a call for applications, and then we have several rounds of reviews with diverse review committees. And then ultimately, the Kyndryl Foundation board will vote on the final grantee list.
I really wanted to know, how does your work-life balance look like? So do you spend most of your time working, and are you able to truly balance it with your personal life?
It's about intentionality. I mean, I think there are moments in my career so far where certainly I've dealt with burnout and all of those types of things. And it's taught me to just be really intentional about time. And I think also there is such a thing as like progress over perfection. And I think get to the progress piece, and then there's other elements of your life as well. So I think it's about being intentional. And for me, it's purpose and people are professional and personal.
Do you have any piece of advice, a final piece of advice that you would give young people that might want to pursue what you're doing?
It's really important to think about, like, if you're thinking about social impact or corporate social responsibility or sustainability, what are the key non-negotiable priorities? The field is always changing, social challenges, climate. And so I think it's important as you're thinking about different companies, what is the focus going to be? Because a person can have many interests and different purposes as well that really drive them. However, I think fixating at least one helps when thinking about education and career. And then also people matter. And people, I mean professionally and personally, because there's going to be ups and downs. Plans are not going to go the way that they're laid out. And no matter what, you do need a network behind you to help you through those ups and downs. And the one constant for me was my purpose, this inner purpose around access and skilling and economic inclusion. And so I think it's okay to build the plane while flying it. That's life, and that's the reality of the world.